Hey everyone, welcome to Underground Scholars Winter 21 podcast series, a podcast about elevating our formerly incarcerated and system impacted scholars' stories. You'll get the chance to listen to our members and advocates supporting USI 3 pillars through recruitment, retention, and advocacy. My name is Marisa Lopez, but you can call me Ritz. I'll be your host for Winter 21 USI podcast series. I had the honor to interview Jorge David JD Mancillas. JD is interested in research on street gangs and its impact on public policy, as well as the research into social and class dynamics that fuel urban violence and material scarcity in marginalized communities. In addition to his academic endeavors, JD works closely with USI, a UC-wide student organization for formerly incarcerated and criminal injustice system impacted students. Through recruitment, retention, and advocacy, the mission is directly to challenge the stigmatization and scapegoating of formerly incarcerated and system impacted individuals. As you already know, USI aims to reverse the proverbial school to prison pipeline by helping build a prison to school pipeline that strengthens an academic network of students, helps them reclaim their stories. So if you want to check out Jorge David JD Mancilla's work, definitely check out UCLA Sociology website under graduate students, and there you'll see the simple list view and see more about JD's work. So let's give a round of applause and a warm welcome to JD.
My name's Jorge David Mancillas. I'm a fourth year PhD student in the sociology department at UCLA. I did my undergrad at UC Berkeley in sociology as well. And currently I'm with my people, my mom, my stepdad. I'm in Harlem right now. They've been here, for 20 years. My grandma was in California. So I'm from mostly raised in California, but I don't want to get into that. I moved a lot in high school. So LA, San Diego, New York, that's kind of where I lived. But I know most of my life's LA. So I gotta say I'm from somewhere. I'm saying from LA. But yeah, I guess I'm an honorary Harlemite. My family's been here for 20 plus years. So 141st and Broadway all day.
Love that. Love that. So JD, I want to ask you, how did you get involved with USI? How did you hear about USI?
Um, Community college. That's where I first heard about USI through Danny Murillo. I was at a transfer workshop at Miramar College in San Diego, community college, and Danny Murillo was there. He's a senior member, one of the co-founders of USI at Berkeley Underground Scholars Initiative, and he kind of just struck up a conversation with me in terms of like, oh, nice tattoos, where are you from, and this and that. And he was giving out pins or something like, I've been admitted to Cal pins or something like that, Cal transfer pins. And I just started chopping it up with him, and he started telling me about USI and where he was from, Norwalk, the One Ways, and then started telling me his sort of his story and how he got to Berkeley. And so he got my interest, and we just chopped it up that whole workshop, and connected with him. And through him, I was connected to like 10 or 15 other USI members through social media. And so once I got out there in Berkeley, once I transferred to Berkeley, it was like there was already a community there to get to know, with similar background stories or just parallels with definitely our political views and academic goals and political, goals in general. So it was a good environment, good community, good group at Berkeley that, has grown. Now it's at UCLA. And so, yeah, that's how I got here. Yeah. Through Danny Murillo and the Underground Scholars.
I've been hearing Danny's name and Javier's name. He seems that they're both someone who like recruit folks. How did you feel when Danny approached you? Like, just kind of basic, that's like recruitment process right there, right? How did you? Because you speak about community. You felt like there was support. How did support look like for you?
Well, he approached me normally. He was handing out these pins, these Cal admitted pins, and I was on the fence between UCLA and Berkeley for undergrad at the time. Like I was just, very hyped about both schools. And I was talking to him about that, and he kind of just now it was organic. Our conversation was like uh it just was sort of natural because he didn't really profile, oh, you've been incarcerated before because of the tattoos or the bald head, the style, whatever. He kind of recognized it, like, also where are you from? Like, not like banging on me, but he asked me like, where were you socialized at, but in a more, not like in a gangbanging way. And we're both Southern Californian Chicanos, and we kind of had that like recognition. And so I knew as soon as he told me he was from the One Ways and Norwalk, and so then and I kind of felt more comfortable opening up to him in terms of like, what am I doing here with that at school and stuff. And that's how, everything came up organically with the USI at Berkeley, and with the support and that they provide, and community. So, it was organic how that uh, sort of happened.
Yeah. So tell us. Okay. So before, all right, you found out that you were between Berkeley and UCLA. What school were you at before? Like you were at community college, right?
I was at several community colleges on and off. At first, I went to LA City College, um, then West LA College, maybe for a semester. Um, but I did most of mine. I finished up at San Diego Mesa College. My grandmother lived there at the time, and
Mhm.
she was sick, so I went to go take care of her down there, and so that's where I got my credits done in San Diego Mesa College, and that's eventually where I transferred from.
So from San Diego to Berkeley, right? What made you kind of decide like, all right, Berkeley's a fine line. Like I'm doing undergrad right here.
Um, Berkeley was it, and UCLA, but just over since Berkeley is an older school and it's in the Bay Area, it's far away, so it felt more of a real, for me, a college experience to go there, be out of my element, out of
Mhm.
Southern California, and somewhere where out of my comfort zone, because I honestly I didn't feel comfortable at first just living in the Bay Area. But I think the underground scholars played a big role in making me feel comfortable there, like as soon as I got there, and also making my decisions to go to Berkeley. USI at UCLA wasn't a thing yet, so I think the original USI started in 2013, and so this is 2015, and so it's still sort of primordial. Well, not primordial, but it was still developing. USI was still developing at Berkeley. It hadn't calmed down UCLA yet. So it was the community for me, getting to know other underground scholars at Berkeley. It was a big community though, and a lot of people to hang out with, and it was all organic. Our friendships between us with that USI. We had people from different neighborhoods, from parts of California, some affiliated with the Northern Southern California division thing, but that was all to the side. Once we were on campus, we all sort of got along, and it was just fun times, good times, and study hard, and we would have each other's back with holding ourselves accountable to get work done, and we also enjoy ourselves too when we had time. So Um, it was that, and because I didn't know anybody at UCLA, I didn't have like really much of a community to navigate to. So I went to all the events at UCLA, and it was a little went to the Chicano orientation at UCLA, and it was good. Yeah, but it was a little bit too. I felt a little bit kind of like lost at sea because there was just so many. It was a big community, and then so it was easy to just like kind of for me get lost in the crowd. I guess at orientation at UCLA, I didn't really meet people. Whereas USI, it was already we had like sort of that street orientation. We all grew up listening to similar music, liking similar styles of whatever, that sort of stuff played a role, I think, because just having a group that matches your racial ethnic identity or whatever is sometimes it's not enough, or it just doesn't guarantee like like solidarity. uh so USI was more of a niche for me. Like I felt like I fit better within that student group because I did check out other student groups and stuff and didn't feel like I fit in.
Yeah, man, that's beautiful. Like the power of education, like how it does to like connect with folks. And just folks listening to the podcast right now, USI UCLA kind of started around like 2016. So I understand like a lot of our members who are like before 2016 originated from Berkeley, and then as folks started graduating from Berkeley or from that main chapter, like it's kind of like started spreading out to different UC campuses because it's like our
Right.
USI members were looking into grad school. So after but before we kind of tap into UCLA, I want to ask, like, were there any like highlights you remember at Berkeley when we're in person, like something that you remember a lot, like y'all used to do? Because I know you did mention like, oh, there's a lot of people hung out with, like, but
Many,
what's your highlight?
many. I was only there for 2 years, and I probably have more memories in terms of like uh, just good times or whatever bad time. More memories as an undergrad than I do now. 4 years into my graduate program, as an undergrad, it was with USI was a lot of highlights in terms of fun times and doing things last minute. We're all in this together. We might have the same class, and um, we're all trying to get this done by a certain deadline. And I think just to sort of like name one highlight, I think it was having our own space, which was Styles Hall, the old Styles Hall, which was building on Bancroft in front of the campus, across the street from the university. Bancroft Hall and no, Styles Hall on Bancroft. And basically we'd be there at any hour we needed to be. If we had to do an all-nighter, we could go there. If we wanted to hang out, we could go there. Um, you know, having an anxiety attack, you could go there. Yeah, anything. There's mad couches, a lot of places to lounge, a lot of places to study. We had an office with a computer, and I saw that develop as I got there. Because when I got there, it was still like that space within Styles Hall was being developed for us, and so I saw that grow, and I think that was like one of the key things. Having our own, we had our own landline, computer, and an office, and from there, it just USI just took off, and like you said, expanded to other UCs, gained a lot of monetary strength through donations and funding and things like that. And so I think that was the highlight, is having our own space, because that's where everything happened. That's where all the good memories and you know lessons in terms of like school stuff, doing things last minute, where I learned. That's Styles Hall.
Let's take a pause and breather right here. Well, personally, I'm taking a breather right here because JD really emphasized like the importance of space, and just to be transparent with y'all, UCLA launched a program on campus in fall or spring of 2019, which is called Bruin Underground Scholars Program. And we're still continuously advocating for space on our campus. And the way JD just beautifully kind of just shared with us about, the importance of space, how it was community down there for him at Berkeley, like that's something we are hoping and looking forward to have space at UCLA. And we are in winter 2021, and we don't have space in our campus, and it's something we're vigorously, like, tackling, having conversations about, because space is very important. Although we are in a virtual setting, once we are in person at the university, we are hoping to have that space for students upon release, once they're out of prison, who want to come back to school or are going back to school, have a designated location to find us, because it's been very difficult for us to find one spot. We've been hopping around different spaces and just trying to stay connected through messages, GroupMe, Slack, emails, correspondence letters, and so many more. So I hope y'all know who are listening out here. We're still here present. We're still here doing the good works. And we're still here being present, advocating for formerly incarcerated and system impacted students.
Yeah, and that's what I've been hearing a lot. As in, like, I ask every member, and I feel like you answered this question without even me asking, because I was basically gonna ask you, like, there's 1,000+ clubs on campus, like Berkeley or UCLA, like, and I was like, why did you choose to stay at UCLA, right? I mean,
Hmm.
USI, but you mentioned before, because like folks, besides race, ethnicity, identity, like there's other things that come into play, like not just one piece. Because I always ask folks like, well, like, you could have gone to any other club, like why USI? Like, besides
Yeah.
resonating where like our backgrounds. A lot of things I've been hearing from members is like, well, it's because we just connect. Like, there's no questions asked. Like, where you're coming from. Like, you're people just get it. Like one little sentence. Like our my last 2 or 3 interviews ago. Like I started talking to someone about like not knowing how to put like funds into my brother's phone when he calls or things like that. And like he got it, like he knew how to help me out. But if I were to
Yeah.
share this with someone else, they'll kind of look at me with like a blank stare, like I don't understand. And I want to ask you like, because in a way, like we stand out, on campus. How do you feel that? How do you feel like standing out on campus, like UCLA grounds or Berkeley grounds? How does that make
Um.
you feel?
Well, I have been profiled a lot at both like Berkeley and UCLA. I have so doing anything. I've been um uh what's the word, jammed up, apprehended, arrested, or you just put question, what are you doing here in front of my apartments? And good thing about being in USI is that after that happens and word gets out that the police just messed with me for no reason, and like literally I didn't even jaywalk or break a law, and there was just like a lot of a support, because that's another thing that connects all the USI members is our political beliefs. We believe in social justice, and a lot of us are prison abolitionists. We would ideally like a world where there is no need for institutions that keep people in locked up. You know, um, that's sort of, people can't get their head past that. Like, oh, what about the criminals? But the belief in righteousness and belief in a better world and for the cause, that's what all unites us. At UCLA, it happened as well. I got questioned for no reason, and that starts to take a toll on you. Like, I don't belong here. I worked hard. And so it doesn't. I'm sort of doesn't really, never really shock me, or well, like, oh my god, like why are they harassing me? But it It's definitely more exasperated on like university grounds than it is anywhere else. Like I don't get profiled like that anywhere. I can't remember in the last 10 years being profiled like that anywhere in the streets or, you know. So um yeah, that's my experiences with being, I guess, profiled
Yeah.
on campus.
Yeah, man. This like it just breaks my heart because like I have three older brothers and that shit would always happen every time. You get me? Like they'll come after me, like cops asking me like, is your brother good brother, or is he gang affiliated? And I'm kind of just like I have to keep my mouth shut. Like I feel like anything you say, man, like cops take it to like a whole other switch. So I'm
Yeah.
glad that you had USI support. Imagine if you weren't a student. You get me?
Yeah.
Imagine if we didn't have USI, how would it have gone? Like, I feel like a student holds a a big identity for us, and I just think about any other like brother or sister formerly incarcerated out there who might not be a student. How would it turn for out for them? Um, I want to ask you this question: does any work you do, like right now, your dissertation, affiliate with like kind of what USI stands for, or anything like social justice? What are you up to now?
Still figuring that out with the proposal for my thesis. I did my master's thesis on the effects of trauma in
Mhm.
relation to social reproductions of gang violence. You know how, and basically focusing on trauma rather than like this approach and structural factors that give way to interpersonal violence or whatever. Um, Looking at other factors besides what's been traditionally looked at by traditional intellectuals, which is, you know, this is an issue, a matter of of individual choices and bad choices, and people making bad decisions, and um, that sort of blame the victim framework.
Mhm.
Um, so there needs to be more work that focuses on like the structural things, because we still have the same problems 30, 40 years later. And, you know, it's whatever's been done um, to deal with hyper incarceration or to deal with crime, whatever the case, has not been working. So, a lot of the law enforcement and a lot of the um, lawmakers and people in that realm, they have like an outsider's perspective on what's going on, and but I think with USI, there's more and more people going into you know policy and advocating for things that benefit formerly incarcerated, currently incarcerated people, and yeah, that's where it's going.
Yeah, congrats on earning your master's, by the way. Super proud that you're there, and you're on your way right now, working on your um, doctoral degree.
Doctor.
Yeah, doctorate degree. So lastly, I know we have a couple minutes left, but I want to ask you, what are some word of advice you want to give to folks who are coming in this virtual thing, or even just like in general, like what kind of advice you want to give to an former incarcerated system impacted student?
Um, it's worth it. The road might be hard, but the prize at the end is, makes it worth it. You know, just I'd always advise with the way we approach our work and stuff to, it's especially if it's virtual, just do your best and don't overthink and stress and beat yourself up. As long as you pass, you're um, you're good. Um, and you know, the virtual thing is gonna be a challenge, but I think it's already even without the virtual. A lot of our work we're doing it alone anyway. I mean, being an intellectual is sort of a lonely occupation, a lonely craft. Like so, writing and reading, you know, yeah, we're missing out on lecture and classes, and it sucks being online. But at the end of the day, that's we got to educate ourselves. We got to read ourselves, put in the work ourselves anyway with the work. So it's supposed to feel uncomfortable because that's what academic training is meant to do. Train you to work under pressure, work under anxiety, under when you don't feel comfortable. So once you get past that, in retrospect, you'll look at it and think that wasn't so bad. Once you finish undergrad or something at community college, and mind you, it does get easier. After community college, I found that like the 4 year work is since it's more focused to what you're interested in. Once you transfer it, it becomes a lot easier, even if it's online. Like, because I mean, at a top, you're still, getting material from like a top tier university. Um, so just keep pushing would be my advice, and embrace the struggle because it makes you stronger.
During the last month, our communities have been vigorously discussing and taking steps to make sure that our schools are eliminating barriers and providing the support and opportunities that will ensure the empowerment and success of students of color and other marginalized groups. We are here sharing this statement to acknowledge our brothers and sisters who are currently incarcerated. We also want to acknowledge our formerly incarcerated brothers and sisters who have not yet shared their stories. We're hoping to elevate our Black, Indigenous people of color, formerly incarcerated students hustle. So, interested in collaborating, having general questions, please feel free to reach out our program's email at undergroundscholars@saonet.ucla.edu. That's all for now, folks. But I'll see you in the next episode of Underground Scholars.